what you can translate and interpret. All right.
Welcome back to the Madden God. I'm Max, your host, and I'm here with the wonderful, the amazing Roxanne. Hi, Roxy. How are you?
Hello, Max. How's my sound? Good?
It's good. It's really very good.
It's good. Ought to be in Hollywood.
Hearing you very well.
Booyah. All right, yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Let's get rocking today. What do you want to talk about?
So, let's talk about the human realm, right? This reality we are inhabiting and identifying as. So we are human beings, as we are identify ourselves as, right? This body is human, this fractal is human, and this is the human reality. What is different from anything else? Why this is human and not something else? Why are we humans and aren't we something else? Because, right, we simply wake up every morning and we are here as human beings in this and is different from anything else because, well, everything else is different. There is only this place that is like this, and we are inhabiting it. And I know that many, because I've been there, we are all
Many
going
what?
through that.
You said I know that many.
Many of us.
Okay.
Many of us have this tendency of wanting out or doubting themselves, doubting human, wondering, why am I human? What is my purpose? Am I having a purpose by being human? So that I'm here every day like this and let's achieve something. These are things that we are using as humans in this reality, right? And why are we doing that? Are other doing the same thing as we do? Do they need this or not?
So when you save others, why don't you give an example of another so people can have a reference point?
Yes, when we talk about others, we could see the Octurians, we could see the Mantis, the Zeta Reticulae, right? All these
Zeta Reticuli
beings.
Let's go with something that
Reticuli.
looks like more palatable. Maybe Arcturians. Because when you put out a word, when you say Arcturians, it vibrates a frequency. And that frequency offers
Yes.
imagery. So when you say Zeta Reticuli, a lot of people might think of grays, something of that nature. Arcturians and Yael and Mantis.
Yes.
So reference an idea of maybe
For
something
instance.
that's palatable. What did you say?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And these are only obviously some examples of the beings we are interacting with, because we do interact with these beings. And one of the things that I've seen from quite the beginning is that I've seen many images of people trying to give them a form, a body, things like that, right? The way we see them, the way they see them, or the way they are, especially, right? Selling that, oh, this picture, this drawing is how an Arcturian looks like.
Yeah, until I see an Arcturian, I have no idea. I got to meet him.
Yes.
I trust the intuition in my
absolutely.
inside development picture, and it might look like the ones that come from the outside, but it's not scripture.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted to say, right? That we have that need of identifying them but then is that necessary? Is that something that can be creatures, right? This is how they look like. Well, I don't know, because I've never seen them actually. And if I were to see them, what will I see? Well, I will see my interpretation as a human of how they appear to me. That doesn't mean that they appear like that, or that they have that form. That is what I can see in that moment.
That's what you can translate or interpret.
Exactly. So
Right.
it remains in the domain of interpretation. So, and this is very interesting, because this gives us a hint of how we operate as human beings. As human beings, we have a perspective of human being, and everything that we interact with or interpret goes through that filter of human. And so even giving them the name Octurian, is that they are Octurians, or is that the human interpretation of that being that says Octurian?
Well, what do you think the answer is on that?
Well, it remains in the domain of human interpretation.
Of course.
As a human, I interpret
Everything
that
we
in
are,
that way.
everything we imagine, everything is coming through the human perspective. So what we say about
Exactly.
the Arcturians is a human perspective, not an Arcturian perspective. Just because it matches or doesn't match is irrelevant. That's human needing to have the validation. Just to have an own internal truth that doesn't match a standard on the outside of approval is, humans need that.
Yes.
So if an Arcturian shows up and they look like Arcturians and we know they're Arcturians, then that's the moment. That's definitely not what it is. We're still interpreting them through our own perspective.
Yeah. And so
So get back to the idea.
bring
Get back to the idea of the human experience and compare it to an Arcturian.
Yes. So when we center ourselves into this human existence and human reality that we inhabit, and then we may interact with other beings, and then, right, the questions start. Yeah, how do they look? Now, like as we said before, well, we don't know actually, except the interpretation we can give of them. What do they do? Do they have a physicality? So we try to get, instead of simply having our experience, we want to know more, to get more into that idea of what they are. Whereas as human beings, physical human beings, all we know is the physicality, our way of being, this reality that we are inhabiting. That's all we know. And so all we are interpreting is through those lenses. And we're unable to wear now other lenses. This is what we are. So this is part of what we are, and this is part of how we express ourselves and how we inhabit this reality. And the need of being, or to understand, or to get out of ourselves, to explore these other beings, to explore other planets, to explore the universe. Whereas what do we do as humans in the human reality of our being here and now, in this moment as a human? Is that relevant to me being in this moment right here? Is it relevant to the rest of the universe? Is it changing anything in my here and now to relate to anything else? Now, I've given an example of other beings, But I don't even need to go that far. I can just stay here and ask, is it relevant what is happening in the other side of the planet? Is there another side of the planet in this moment? Yes, there is, and there isn't. What I'm getting at is I'm inhabiting this reality right here, right now. I'm being this here and now. And I'm aware of everything else that was out there. I know that that is there. But I feel more and more that this now is all that matters. This now is what I am inhabiting. And that my creation, without getting there, just me in this moment, expressing myself, being myself, expressing my truth of me, how that is just, I can say wonderful, but just all that I need. And how that brings, I'd say, joy, which is not joy. It brings simply the awareness of me, of the self. And then once I recognize myself, once I am here and empowering myself as me, then I have access, my ways of accessing to all those parts of me, to all those things that are around me. I feel more connected when I'm connected with me. First. And that centers me and opens me in ways that, right, in ways that are not immediately, when I identify as human fractal, as the ego, they're not immediately appearing as possible. Because, well, that's part of our game, of our reality, to express ourselves in that way. We have talked about that, right? The fractal, the separation. It's separating ourselves from ourselves. But the more I get into that, and then I perceive this reality differently. And differently is what? Differently is not, it's different, it's not the same, or it's the same. It's still here and now, but it's different because I connect it with me in a different way.
Yeah, you change the relationship.
Yes. And so that for me, right, I'm seeing this as the difference between what we already talked about, right? The externalization and the trying to leave this body, trying to leave this reality, trying to be somewhere else, and internalizing and bringing all back to the self. I've noticed there recently I was having an experience and I was trying to figure it out, and then I had just the moment I just said, oh fuck it, it's me, I'm doing this. It's not, it's again, this is me. And once I just admit it, realize once more it's me, the I could say problem solved, or there's no problem, there's no nothing, it's simply me, I'm doing this. And so just that change completely the energy, completely the relationship, completely the situation. And so you see, this for me now is the way, that's the change, right? That's how it has completely changed the relationship with this reality, is the internalization in bringing me at the center of everything. Even when I try to get out to try to play that game, then it goes complete. It's always back to the self, always back to this. And then it opens up completely, all the accesses, all the relationship, everything. The energy is different. So if I want to have a relationship with the universe, with the what is out there, when I am having that relationship first, that awareness, that inside with me first, then I'm able to relate to that in a different way and to interact with that in a different way. Because I have first the relationship with me.
Yes.
Right?
That thing, you know, let's look at what you talked about at the very beginning. You know, we established the idea of the Arcturians. So let's put human against every other known species, known and unknown species. Let's look at the uniqueness of separation. The uniqueness of separation, and if we were going to do a comparison, let's say an Arcturian knows itself as it's always known itself. And we'll sum that up in the Arcturian incarnation is a creator. It knows itself, but it doesn't covet itself in loss. It doesn't need, it doesn't want, it doesn't desire. It doesn't have a relationship with lack because it is a whole being. So say for a model that we can understand to the listeners, that you're the one, the only God. And I'll use God in this case so we can add some spice to it, because we know that's a tender for a lot of people. I mean, you can replace the word with creator as well. So God's up here in all that is, in its own reflected universe, creating thought, and it decides to create a planet. So it creates a planet. It manifests a planet through whatever scope of reality you can, dirt, gravity, molecules, light. And on that, you want to be able to look at the planet from a perspective of being down on the planet. So you're up here and you can't get down on the planet. So you make your eyes small and you're looking around. You might experience the planet in a more different way. So you create a physical body. And in that physical body, you give yourself legs and arms, digestive system, senses. So you can experience the fullness of that. So that's what an Arcturian is. An Arcturian, or a fairy, a pixie, a sprite, a blue avian, a draconian, dracmonian, Lancinian, it doesn't matter. Any of the species that are out there are whole. See, they're knowing they're the one and the all from that individual perspective. They're our creator, they are God, they're a creator, a God, whatever the fuck you want to do. Right now, it's more comfortable to use a separation idea like a God instead of God. So use that as a bridge, that's fine. So if you look at that whole being walking around on the planet having a good time, it's not afraid, it doesn't need, it creates. It doesn't want, it has. doesn't have time as a betterment of itself. It doesn't have a history to regret itself or learn from its mistakes. It doesn't have those things. See, it's a whole being. So if an Arcturian manifests itself, or a god rather, manifests itself as an Arcturian, it joins an Arcturian collective. And that collective is perspective of a unison, a mass collective, like a human has a mass collective. We as human have a very, very diverse ideas of realities, yet we have a unison about us. It's a human thing. We all feel different ideas. We all feel polarity. We all feel hope. We all felt lack, loss, sorrow, pain, suffering, mourning, gain, success, failures. We have that commonality. We have that unison, right? So the human experience, in comparison to every other incarnation in all of creation, I mean, no one else is separated. Now, there are versions of separation, but never is this. This is the first one, and there will never be, because we cannot repeat ourselves. The experience will never be matched. But that's a good thing. We don't want to be comparative and more greater, and we don't want to repeat ourselves. So look at this human experience as I get a chance to come down to a species, a planet, co-create myself in a physical body with other humans, and not know I'm a god, and forget every single thing I've ever done for the infinite number of, and we use human terms, infinite number of millenniums, years, decades, whatever you want, that I've been, I am, which is forever. All of that is no longer accessible because I create an experience, a memory that says you're not anything in the past. You're not anything in the future. You're always now. And then the memory gives access to time. That's why we have time, that we can look through our memory at the past, and we look through our memory and fathom or postulate a future. Well, this is what happened before, that might happen then, that kind of idea. But if you really look at it from a higher perspective, the bird's eye view, looking down, it's that we get to do the whole thing as an experience. Now, humans are the only one that has purposes. Because where did we find purpose? Human. We're the only ones that have hope. We're the only ones that have need and desire and loss. But we as humans have a formula that says if we experience it, everyone else does. We're very good at dressing up our truths and placing them on other things. For example, any of your alien movies, automatic, we got to kill them motherfuckers because they're going to eat our heads. So we do that. We put monster masks on bunny rabbits as a collective. We fear the unknown, and we have a saying sometimes down here, kill them all, let God sort them out. Yeah, let's just kill. We're very good at killing, but we're not very good at humility and acceptance. But why would we be? I don't want to be humble and meek and transcending, because then I lack my human experience. So let's now equate this to a law of attraction. If you're listening to this, the law of attraction has given you an opportunity. Creation has protuned you to this podcast for a moment to concept an idea that's beyond the structures that create your experience as a human. The human experience is not permanent. It's like everything else. It's constantly changing and evolving. But that awareness of the human experience gives an intelligence, and as Max says, it gains access to different parts of you, different information, different intelligences. So I didn't come down here to wake up a species. I didn't come down here to be a vegan and not eat meat. I didn't come down here to save the fucking planet. I came down here to forget and live that life to its fullest until the natural self wakes up to the internal self. And you do that naturally. You start seeing 1111, 1010, triple threes, triple seven, triple fours all the time. Things just start to look different in your reality because you are awakening to yourself. Now, that doesn't make you special. Don't put yourself on a soapbox. Nobody is special. We're all gods. Get the fuck over it. You're an average, run-of-the-mill creator, an eternal, indestructible being of I am that is incomparable to any other thing unless you, and your little story you're telling in your mind, compares yourself. And that story starts and stops in your universe. Oh, you might give it to someone else and they can go, oh, bravo, that's really awesome. Well, we don't need to do that, do we? Do we need external validation? It's part of the human experience, we do. Because we're so empty when we get here and so lonely. First thing I knew is I'm a piece of shit. I'm a failure. My religion said I suck. My parents said I suck. My society said I suck. So I suck. It's why felons stay felons, or alcoholics stay alcoholics. It's because they have to identify with that idea, because no one gave them the opportunity to change their perception of themselves. But as awakeners do, we offer perception changes, validity of the internal self. Now, that's the same self the Arcturians have, the Zeta Reticuli have, the blue avians have, the Yael have, every other creature, the bees, the birds. They all have an inherited knowing. Dolphins, whales, octopuses. They all have an inheriting way of being. They're connected. They have instinctual fear on the planet. This is a fucking hostile place as soon as you get here. You can be born one day and get a bullet from a drive-by the next. It's a fucking hostile place.
Yeah.
But that doesn't neglect anything. That's not good or bad. That's part of the experience of possibility. We jumped into an amusement park, gave ourselves a ride, and with that, we get to choose how to journey through this. We can swim, we can walk, we can talk our way through, we can bullshit our way through, we can lack and love our way. It doesn't matter, because truly there is nobody judging, because there's no one outside of you. You are the creator. You're the one and all, and you own every truth that you ever put out there. Now, the externalism, as we talked about last week, the objectification, the outside source validating the inside, is part of that human experience. So the Arcturians aren't lacking. They're not needing. They don't need to help us. They're not guiding us. They're offering. They are working with us. But in the ideas of channeling and the ideas of automatic writing and the different intuitions that they connect with us in a vibrational state. If someone's connected with them in a physical reality, booyah for them. So we are interacting with these, but we're interacting with them on ways that are not validated by the commonality. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. If it's not there, it ain't real. These are static humans looking for proof, which is a cycle itself. These are things that you don't pay attention to. This is what it takes to accept an internal truth and explore it, and fear the loss of time, fear the loss of being wrong, fear the loss of rejection from the people around you when you start to wake up. I want you to fear the best fear you can. I want you to swim and bathe in it and wash your fucking armpits and your crotch with fear. I want you to become alive in fear so you may know it. Because when you know fear, you transcend it. It'll never grip you the way it grips you now. But that journey is an enlightening journey to what it is to be an awakener in human. Because the mass psyche is a division. The whole collective is divided from itself. And we co-create that powerful will of the now of separation. And that gives us this unique experience. Abraham from Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks channels Abraham, had said, you guys couldn't wait to get here. And of course, me waking up, going through my ascension, I was MFing the universe and saying, bullshit, I didn't want to come here. You know, yes, you did. But you didn't have a perspective that showed you that. And I had to do my work, humble myself, surrender, transcend my beliefs through my way of my discovery, taking what is offered in my awakening, not as scripture or the way, because then I'll be externalizing myself. Just, you might as well call it another fucking religion. Like that's the right way. No, there is no fucking right way. There's only and never shall be your way, your truth. It's all true. You choose which truth you want to experience. That's the uniqueness. My purpose is none. I came here to experience separation. Yeah. I'm not going to purpose myself. I'm going to experience every ounce of human possibility. And when I'm done, I'll vibrate right out of the frequency. I can't keep myself here because I'm not punishing myself. I'm not dominating myself. And there's no one else doing that either. That's all human, to assign cause and effect to an outside source of authority. Just remember that. It's a unique, beautiful thing that you get to do. Why? Why not? Is it painful? You can't be painful as an Arcturian. You can never lack or never suffer as an Arcturian. Ever. Because they don't have that concept, because they're not polarized. We're polarized. Mm-hmm. We're separated. The entire universe is unconditional. And our created conditioned universe is the possibility of unconditional. We've created conditions out of the unconditional because we can. Yeah. And we are. And it's absolutely phenomenal. Because I felt a couple of days, the core, the depths of the will of the now, the vibrating self that is pumping out the truth of separation. And I got lost, and every part of me started to shake. And it was like the crumblings of a brick building. And I thought I was just going to explode at a molecular level and crumble into a pile of dust, because there was no more glue holding me together. There was no more ideas of this or that. I couldn't control the thoughts. I couldn't control the negativity. I couldn't control the persuasion of emotion to make you better, to be. All the resounding themes of my entire life were just spilling on top of me. And I hated it. I did. I was like, God damn you, motherfucker. I was finding the depths of my covets, my beliefs that I was this and I was that and I had to do this and you had to do that, and all of that was just ringing up inside of me. But the mastery of myself prevailed, because I've done the work. I've accepted myself, surrendered to my own recognition of my beliefs. This is my universe I created. It doesn't belong to my parents. It doesn't belong to society. No one's causing you there. I am no victim. I am creator. And I saw that at such an intimate level. That experience only gave me the magical acceptance of my journey in that moment, to where all the ludicrousy of why I would come here and the jealousies of being whole like the others around me, the ones that I channel, the connectivity. I'm only lacking myself, which is the human. I get to lack myself. It was exposed. I saw it face to face. I was like, I am separated.
Yes.
And I have to trust that
Wow.
I am whole. I have no proof. I have nothing except the will of myself. And choose that truth without the convictions of courage to move forward, postulated on a fucking theory from my mind selling me a future. No, no, no. It's done now with no reason, no ties, no tendrils. It is naked, it is raw, it is without safe harbor or without shepherds. It's just there. I choose the truth because I'm unreasonable, because I am. So I know it works. I know I am. I know why we came here, to satisfy the self, because I can. So that's another reason about the fundamentals, as we talked about last week, a deeper perspective of those ideas. Go ahead, man.
You know, I had a moment where I could perceive the coming and going. Now, that is my interpretation, obviously, because everything is here and now, so it's not in
What do
time.
you? I'm
So
sorry.
what
What do
I'm
you
saying
mean? What do you
now,
mean by coming and going? What do you mean? I'm missing that.
I'm getting to there.
Oh,
I'm just saying
okay.
that what I'm giving now as a view, as interpretation of that is giving a view of time. Bear with me with that, right? But I could see myself in this now, and I could see myself in a different way, in another now, which that now was not related to this now. However, I could see myself getting from this now to that now, back to this, like a right from one timeline to another timeline, but these two timelines are not connected, meaning that that version of me has no interaction with this version of me. So that version of me, it's completely different. However, I knew that it's me, and I know that this is me. So I could understand how we navigate, how I enter here in this now as me, as Max, as this creator, God, fractal, whatever I'm expressing in the moment. But I can see that I'm not static, I'm not here permanently. That gave me that understanding of, right, we move into our experiences, not as a linear. So I'm not constantly this. I'm going, or I'm experiencing in many places. And as I said, this gives an idea of time. It's right, because it's like, oh, I'm leaving here to go there. No, I'm simultaneously. But as a human being, I cannot get that concept fully. So I need to conceptualize it as, right, many places, going, coming, going, and that kind of thing. It gives an idea, right? That's all there is about that. And so that showed me, right, that there is this perspective, there are other perspectives, and that all of this is always me. And I've seen how that relates to the memory. And it's like, right, it's I'm experiencing here, and I have a memory of myself. So I'm building a timeline for myself where I have memory of what I have done 1 year, 2 years ago, blah blah, all of that. And I realized that the difference between me here and now with what I'm relating to, and that other me that is on that other timeline, but it's still me. The only thing is that we relate to a different memory, because all of those experiences is still me. It's always me, right? Except that I'm giving to that the idea of it's another version of me. I'm creating another. That's a way of seeing that. It's not wrong. I have now transitioned to another way of seeing it, that in saying, no, it's not another version of me. It's me. It's always me. Different memory. That's all that differentiates that with in that case, right? So for you see, as you were saying, there are no proofs. There is nothing. However, we perceive, we relate to, we get ourselves in this, and then it becomes a knowing. There is no need anymore to ask, am I God? I am God. I don't need, and I don't feel the need of saying it or to express it in any way, because I know that that's what I am. And so there it is. And I know that the moments I feel the need to assess it, well, then that's the moment of doubt. That's the moment where I feel I need to put that there, because, well, in that moment, I'm not really relate to it in the same way of knowing. That's the fractal. That's the ego that is saying, oh, is that true? And then I need to say, yes, I'm God. Because I don't need to say it. When I'm fully myself, fully in that, that's what I am. And you said before, Roxy, you said that this is unique, right? This experience, human experience, being here, and we are not repeating that anywhere else. But absolutely, it's also because this is forever, right? This experience remains in that idea of forever, so that's always there. No need to go anywhere else to do the same, because this is always valid as an experience for ourselves, and which also prove how precious, how this is something that we wanted to have as an experience. This is why we are creating human. This is why we are here. This is why we are, because this is the experience. This is where we are having this experience. So we come here for that. We don't need to go anywhere else. It's here. And so we have this amazing human experience to get ourselves exactly that we choose to have here.
And every person makes it their own.
Yeah. In many ways, right?
In every way possible.
In every
which
way,
is an
yeah.
infinite number of possibilities. Because each universe, each person is unique.
Yes. You know what I realized? I was listening to some podcast videos about the Lord of the Rings. This amazing work Tolkien did and channeled and expressed. And as I was thinking about that, then I said, well, it's an interesting work where there is the opposition between good and bad, the force of the good and the force of the evil that are confronting themselves on Middle Earth, all of that, right? And then I wonder, what about the evil's perspective? What is presented as evil? What about their perspective? Are they perceiving themselves as evil, the bad guys? So
evil?
Evil, yeah. That's a word I always watch.
Okay, so go ahead.
Sure. So what about their perspective? Are they perceiving themselves as the bad guys? Are they seeing themselves in that way, or is it that the our own perspective of seeing that, right, bringing that in our reality, in our human perspective? Then we need that polarity. We need to have that expressed in that way of good. And the other side, I still can't say
Evil.
that. Evil. Thank you. Um, and then I said, well, if you it's not that you change that because it's valid, it's real, right? It's not that I'm not saying it's not what is presented. I'm simply changing the perspective. And then I say, well, then actually then the book is expressing, can be seen in many other levels, and is expressing much more than what we perceive through duality. Then that gave me an idea of seeing how that changed completely the situation, giving the right the time of the human, of the man, of the humans, right? That is the result of the book, of the story. They came and become the main force, and everyone else is leaving, disappearing, or going west, I think. And then I said, yeah, it is the concept of the West physical? The idea is it that it's physical? And then I said, but is it physical? Because the West is supposed to be the place where you have the godlike beings, right, inhabiting that place. And I
I think you
said,
call it
am
a
I
Lunatar,
supposed to?
right?
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
the Louveter. And then I said, are they physical? Of the same physicality as in Middle Earth, at least, right? And I said, well, maybe there's more there in changing perspective, because then you say, well, probably it's not the same physicality, it's not the same vibration. And so when the elves leave Middle Earth to go to the West, aren't they
The
changing
Undying Lands.
and getting the Undying Lands? And so that I said, well, you see, then you change that, or you do not relate to that first interpretation of physical, of human. Then the story changes completely in its, and it becomes much more relatable from our perspective. The elves living, and there's only the human. And that is something that we experienced here, right? We are perceiving only humans, but we know that we had the fairies, we had many other beings that were living with us, and they left. So that I found, right, fascinating, to change that, the way you see the story, and then the channeling of it. So the work of translating what Tolkien was channeling into those books, into that story, and seeing that the work of delivering what humans can relate to, what we can read and understand of the story, uh, and right with that, I was just, thank you. Look how perspectives can change, how our being human can be
Magnificent.
seen in a different way. Yeah.
Just change your perspective. But you can't think about how to change it. You have to transcend the truth. You know? You really got to get down to that internal dialogue with yourself. Look what you're repeating to yourself every day. Look what you are acting on every day. Look at your behavior every day. Create a self that is humble. I mean, you gotta swallow a lot of fucking pride here. Eat a lot of humble pie, and just really, really look at your inner truth. And don't look at it in a way of judgment. Don't look at it good or bad. Just accept it and recognize everything about you. And then your nature, the whole being as the Arcturian is whole, the persona of you will start to emerge. And then you'll get to see different perspectives without trying to change your mind. See, that's why all this bullshit about, changing people's minds is crap. It doesn't fucking work. I'm in the year 2022 currently. I'm 57 years old. And I've seen people trying to get people to change their minds. We do it through laws. We do it through beating their shit out of them. We'll go ahead and kill them. We want people to think another way because we can't realize that our own truth is enough. And that's lack, but that's another story. But if you preach, you're going to get the counterance of preaching. So what you do is represent. So you represent without expectation. So stop hate, stop racism, stop killing animals. You're preaching to me. Fuck you. Don't tell me what to do. I got enough people telling me what to do. I've got gods and I got my own fucking mind leading me down an emotional pathway, and I'm a puppet on strings of truths that I have no control of. But now I have access and awareness to those ideas. Don't tell people what to do. Grow the fuck up. Know you're enough on your own. Just know you're enough. Don't tell them they can't do this or this is the truth. That's your own diarrhea. If you really want to mature and change perspective, look at what you and your truth is. It might feel emotionally true. It might charge you and to fulfill your emptiness, your separation itself, that ludicrous fucking hole of nothingness that we always fill with identity over and over again, in the cyclic ideas of manifesting focus, pouring that into our vortex, saying, I count. I got them to change their mind. I made them feel bad. I'm a dick, so I'm going to go ahead and play a joke on a person in public. Lick their fucking ice cream, you fucking cowards. Grow the fuck up. What you got to do is look at that. The way I'm saying it is unjudgeable. You don't like it? Good. Look at the rips inside of you. Look at the resistance inside of you when you are the nature of unconditional. And you find those conditions inside of you and you look at them. I blamed everyone for my failures. I blame myself mostly. But if I got an opportunity to assign it outside, I did. I got to bitch, I got to scream, I got to look for people to sympathize and empathize with me, because I get to be human. But I'm a master and I'm good at ascending species. I'm very good at waking species up and ascending them. That's why I'm here. I'm fucking good at it. Because I have the humility to ascend me. To see those external beliefs of cause and effect and assignments to others as a child on a playground. No more accountability, no more reasoning. All of those things are the children's of assignment. I am enough as is. And that gave me exposure, awakening, recognition, access to my own structures as a human. For A, the experience, and now I've moved on to B, for the maturity of the species. But I can't mature the species. I can't rattle off what the fuck people are supposed to do. Do what the hell you want to do. But take a hard look at yourself. You are creating the mess inside. Neville Goddard, one of the greatest channelers of the Bible. Just this guy, Neville Goddard. Look him up on fucking YouTube, everyone. He will take the Bible and he will blow it up and using the same words change every idea perspective about that Bible. Because before, in your life, the Bible to me was preached as the scripture the way it was, and it was interpreted by the preacher through lack, so therefore it was instilled as me as lack. He doesn't preach it. He shows you the perspectives, a different way to look at the same sentence in a different perspective, showing you you can change your internal perspective, giving you the ability to look at things from a different observer point that's not tied to the emotional identity for validation, because you're enough on your own and you can explore this reality instead of suffer it. You'll suffer the transcendence, I'll tell you that, but you will never suffer yourself anymore. So I think that's a good thing to look at. So we have the ability to see ourselves and to recognize the enlightenment of ourselves and enlighten what's dark around us and see the exposed ideas of standardizations, of algorithms, of internal dialogue that keeps creating the lack about money, the lack about identity, the lack about my looks, the lack about my needs. And that's an algorithm. It's continuing always to manifest itself because I'm giving it the same worth. I'm giving it the same focus. I'm choosing to be that perspective. Until I change it, I have to recognize in me, nothing's going to change outside. Stopping hate, stopping white politicians from doing their bullshit, stopping white cops from killing black people. All we're going to do is make more laws and keep ourselves divided. But we need maturities and acceptance and represent that. Represent the change and not fear your life, not fear your loss. Give yourself. Don't preach it. Don't teach it. Represent it. Don't need them to accept you. Don't demand others to accept you as you are. I'm a transgender. I don't give a flying fuck if you like me or not. Because you do not complete me. I am not depending on your acceptance for my validity because I am. My existence is self-evident. The way I pimp my ride, my human self, I choose to be transgender because that's how I feel inside. If you don't like it, okay. Fully for you. But if you come hammering it down on me that I'm wrong, then you're giving yourself that experience. I'm not going to accept your truth. I don't care what you do. Because I know I'm enough. And I know my truth is always and ever shall be mine. But before, of course, I accepted the truth of everyone else's. That's last week. That's the nature of separation. Listen to last week's idea. You understand we coveted these ideas. So now we get to do this. We are the experiencers. We get to experience that. All the loss you see, humanity, is an experience. No one dies. We just change rooms. We just shift perspective. Everyone's an indestructible isness, a being of I am. It's your experience to miss them and to mourn and loss and gain and hate and love. That's the master of this class. Don't discount it to some bullshit of polarity and karma and an outside God going, oh my God, I'm going to punish you because you're a bad little kid. All that's the experience of this game. See that in yourself. Mature yourself. That is a fucking master. Not a child bitching to the teacher because someone took your ball.
Yes. Wonderful. And this will bring you change for sure. You change perspective for sure, not because you want to change your perspective, but just because it changes, and you realize that you change perspective only once you have changed perspective. If you want to realize it, you may even not realize it. You don't need to, but you will change perspective and have a different reality offered to you, even though it may look like exactly the same. Change is coming.
Yes. And you might not want to accept the change. You may feel completely different, but your mind up here, the puppeteer, is saying, no, you can't be that because then you'll lose this and this and this. It's going to sell you a fucking bill of goods, and it's called fear. Fuck the fear. Live now. N-O-W. Live now. How do you do this? Now is how you do it. In the now, get to know yourself. In the now, choose your truth. Don't let fear, the things that are not happening now, sell you a story of behavioral aspect that keeps you in your own perspective of lack, in your safe and responsible, obligated self. We are God's waking up. We are creating an experience of awakening an entire species that doesn't even know it's part of all that is. It's a masterclass. And you've joined it because you're just a fucking badass. Period.
Yeah. Period. All right.
Good stuff, Max.
Let's get out of here. Well, yeah, good stuff, Roxy. Thank you. It's now time to get out. So, first of all, where can they find you?
They can find me at odysseyofascension.com or on YouTube, Odyssey of Ascension. Is on YouTube too. It's ODYSSEY of OF Ascension, ASCENSION, and that's .com, and on YouTube. You'll see a blue triangle, Odyssey of Ascension. You'll see long-haired, gray-haired, transgender witch. It says, and it's the same website.
Yes.
And that's it. I'm going to be starting classes on the 31st of August, Wednesday night classes. And they're going to be an idea of the work that I've done in the body of work in the form of, here's what I found out, and we call it a school of recognition, to recognize all the things about humanity, and then how to transcend those. It's an evolutionary idea, but it's my embodiment of 9 years worth of work doing to this that I'm bringing forth. It's actually, yeah, it is 9 years. It'll be 10 years this year. So that'll be on my website soon, and we'll talk about that again. Just give me a heads up on that.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. That's great. 31st of August.
Yes.
It's a Wednesday.
It is.
And you can find me on my website, Breakfast with Max, and YouTube, Breakfast with Max, or Massimiliano Turci. Response to both. And yeah, and that's all we have for this week. So thank you for joining
Thanks
us.
all for coming in and
And
joining
we will
us.
be seeing you next week.
On the Madden God. Thanks all. Take care.
Bye-bye.